train ride from Boston to New York City as twilight turns to night. The train left Boston a little after 6 p.m. I had a window seat on the right side, facing the front. The sun was still up, but the light was thinning. As we moved south toward New York, the sun slowly set, and artificial lights began to surface. There was nothing new or strange about this, but today I felt compelled to observe more closely than I had before. I didn't take any photos. I would look down occasionally at my phone to make notes, documenting what I saw. Trees were the first to disappear, losing color quickly, green to gray with dark outlines. Then they were flattened into black shapes, silhouetted against the indigo sky. They bordered the tracks closely, or stood scattered behind houses and fences, erasing whatever was behind them. Houses began to appear, with their lights already on. Living rooms, filled with warm yellow light. Upstairs, bedrooms glowed more softly from behind curtains. The dark outlines of window frames made each interior scene look like a pocket-sized Polaroid. Some rooms were lit by ceiling lights. Others had just one standing lamp, casting a more intimate light. The houses closest to the tracks rushed by in a blur, their lit-up interiors barely visible. Further out, rooms revealed themselves more slowly as the train curved past. I saw staircases, kitchen tables, the blue flicker of a television. Sometimes, only the suggestion of a room, light on drywall, a soft shape on the ceiling. Who lives there? What are they thinking about this evening? Who were they in their past life? What drew their souls to the places they reside in now? Boats rested quietly in a body of water, with small navigation lights shining dimly. Pier lights spilled across the surface, casting bright lines that shimmered, then scattered into ripples. We passed industrial yards, lit up by halogen lights. Cranes and forklifts stood still, their shadows stretched sharp and long across the ground. Warehouses sat back from the tracks, with high windows that had dusted over. Faint light leaked from within. What projects had been built? What had been abandoned? Train platforms came and went, almost all devoid of people at this time of the evening. Light came from overhead fluorescents and illuminated advertising displays. It was comforting, this symmetry of platforms, the neat rows of lights, the quiet cadence silently at work. Parking garages next to stations stood quiet. One was trimmed with blue LEDs that wrapped around the edges. Street lamps tracked the roads paralleling the train line. Older ones cast warm orange circles on sidewalk cracks and fence posts. Newer ones gave off a bright white light in evenly spaced lines. In a few places, street lights were attached high, on battered and weathered large wooden poles, along with a tangle of cables. Those were usually older streets of less affluent neighborhoods. At one corner, we passed 2 police cars parked, with their lights silently flashing. 2 officers were standing and speaking to a woman. I could not make out their expressions. The scene flashed by quickly and was swallowed by a row of trees that appeared to rush past the window. Like drawing a curtain, Clusters of office buildings passed by. A few floors were fully lit. Others were dark. I could make out miniature conference rooms, desks, computers, trash cans, swivel chairs, and ceiling lights. Billboards floated above the highway, illuminated in different ways. Light boxes glowing from within or lit by rows of lamps from below. Electrical substations appeared at intervals. All was fenced, all was fully exposed under harsh lights. Metal housing, wire coils, heavy transformers sat in plain view. The lighting revealed everything, but didn't explain anything. Headlights from passing traffic traveled alongside us briefly when the highway ran next to the train tracks. White beams pointed forward, red tail lights drifting back, amber blinkers pulsing occasionally. We passed through sections where rock walls closely bordered both sides of the tracks. In these moments, I was aware of the sound of the train and the faint reflection of my face in the glass. A baseball field emerged briefly. Every floodlight was on. The field was perfectly lit. Bases, outfield, bleachers. Someone was walking across the field. Bridges crossed overhead and passed beneath. Lights were mounted under their decks and along their steel skeletons. Steel beams and rivets became visible for just a second. As we approached New York City, apartment buildings began to appear in the distance, 20, 30 stories high. The city began to stack. Glass towers reflected other towers as light bounced between them, multiplying with every surface. The train passed on a bridge above the low rooftops of Queens, which made me feel like we were floating above a mass of lives going about their evening business. I saw a small church below. A cross was mounted on the front wall, outlined in tiny white bulbs that were spaced evenly, fixed, unblinking. The image lasted maybe 3 seconds. I still remember it. We arrived at Penn Station at 9:45 p.m. I stepped out into the bright lights of 7th Avenue. If you enjoyed this story, follow Lexicon and Flame for more original writing, exploring memory, meaning, and culture across time and space.